Welcome back, dear listener, to Sleep Theory TV. Here you are safe. Here you are guided into a story that is more than a story. It is a lullaby carried by the wind, a whisper shaped by the sea, a tale that has drifted through time for centuries. This is the myth of Sedna, the Inuit goddess of the sea. A haunting yet soothing story. A story about balance, about respect, and about the mysterious powers that guide life in the Arctic. So settle in. Rest your head. Let your breath move slowly, like the waves upon the shore. The world around you can fade now. There is only this voice, only this story, and only the quiet rhythm of sleep waiting for you. Imagine the far north, a land where the snow never truly melts, where the air is sharp and clean, filled with the scent of salt and ice, a land where the sun may vanish for months, and where the stars glow brighter than you have ever seen. Here, the wind is constant and the sea is alive. The sea breathes, the sea hungers. The sea gives life, and the sea takes it away. The Inuit people have always understood this. For them, survival is a balance. To hunt without gratitude is to invite misfortune. To disrespect the ocean is to risk its anger. And long ago, they began to tell a story. The story of a young woman who became something more. The story of Sedna. In a small settlement, surrounded by snow and ice, Sedna was born. Her mother passed away when Sedna was still young, leaving her father to care for her alone. He was a hunter, strong and skilled, but also gentle when it came to his only daughter. Sedna grew up quiet and thoughtful. She spent long hours by the shore, gazing out at the restless ocean. She would listen to the steady rhythm of the waves as though they were speaking to her. Some said she was stubborn, some said she was different, but all agreed that she was striking. Her hair was long and black, falling like a dark river over her shoulders. Her eyes were deep and distant, filled with unspoken thoughts. She seemed connected to the sea even as a child, as though some invisible thread tied her to the waters that stretched endlessly beyond the horizon. As Sedna grew into womanhood, many men sought her hand. One hunter brought her furs, warm and soft. Another promised her food and safety. Another spoke of children, of building a family together. But Sedna shook her head. One by one she refused them. Her father grew worried. In their world, a woman without a husband was seen as vulnerable, even incomplete. He begged her to choose, but Sedna remained firm. She wanted something more. She wanted freedom. She wanted to wait for a love that felt true. The other villagers whispered. Some said she was too proud. Some said she would grow old and alone, but Sedna did not care. Then one day, a stranger arrived. He was tall, dressed in heavy furs, his hood pulled low to shadow his face. His voice was smooth and promising. He told Sedna of a faraway land where life was easy, where food was plentiful, where she would live in comfort and peace. He promised she would never be cold, never be hungry, never be lonely again. And for the first time, Sedna's heart wavered. Her father, too, was persuaded. The man's words seemed kind, his gifts generous. At last, it seemed Sedna would be cared for, her future secure. And so, with her father's blessing, Sedna agreed to go with him. She left her home, her people, and the shore she loved so deeply. His stranger took her across the sea, far from everything she knew. The journey was long, the waters restless beneath their small boat, and at last they reached his home. A barren island, bleak and windswept. There was no warmth, no abundance, no safety, only rock, wind, and the endless cries of seabirds. And here the stranger revealed his true form. He was not a man at all. He was a spirit, a bird spirit. Some say a raven, others say a fulmar. But whoever he was, he had deceived her. Her heart ached with betrayal. Her life was now bound to this lonely island. Her husband not the man she thought, but a spirit wrapped in lies. The days on the island stretched endlessly. Sedna ate little. She grew weak. The winds cut against her skin. The nights were long, filled with the cries of seabirds that pierced the silence. She thought of her father. She thought of the shore she once loved, the gentle rhythm of waves, the comfort of familiar snow and ice. And each night she dreamed of escape. But the island held her, and the bird spirit watched, and the sea, restless and endless, surrounded her on all sides. Back in her village, Sedna's father grew restless. He missed his daughter. He wondered about her life with the stranger, about her well-being on that distant island. At night, when the lamps burned low and the wind whispered across the igloo walls, he would think of her. He would remember her as a child, sitting by the sea, her dark hair blowing in the salt air, and he began to worry. The sea had a way of taking things. The sea could give food, seals, fish, whales, but the sea could also take, and now he feared the sea had taken his daughter. On the island, Sedna's loneliness grew heavier each day. The bird spirit, her husband, was often gone, soaring above the cliffs, hunting in the endless sky. She would sit alone on the rocks, her eyes searching the horizon, hoping to see her father's boat appear like a shadow against the water. But no boat came, only the sound of waves, only the cries of seabirds, only the cold. The island was like a prison, surrounded on all sides by water, too deep and wide to escape. The life she had been promised, a life of warmth, comfort, and peace, had turned into sorrow. And yet, even as despair pressed against her, she still listened to the sea always moving, the sea always breathing, and she felt, though she could not yet understand, that the sea was listening to her too. One night, Sedna dreamed she was a child again. She stood on the shore near her father's home. The sky glowed with northern lights, green and violet ribbons dancing across the stars. The waves whispered to her, calling her name. She stepped closer, and the sea opened gently, as though welcoming her. She felt no fear. She felt only belonging. When she awoke, the sound of the waves still lingered in her ears, soft and low, like a lullaby. And for the first time in many moons, Sedna felt a trace of calm. At last, Sedna's father could bear it no longer. He decided to see his daughter, to bring her home if she wished it. He prepared his kayak, strong and steady, and filled it with food for the journey. The sea was wide, but he knew the way. The stars would guide him, as they had guided countless hunters before him. And so he set out, the paddle cutting through the water, each stroke carrying him farther from his village, closer to the island where his daughter lived in sorrow. When Sedna saw the small boat approaching, her heart leapt. At first she thought it was a dream, like the one she had held in her sleep. But no, it was real. It was her father. He had come for her. She ran to the shore, her voice breaking the silence. Her father reached out his hands, lifted her into the boat, and for a moment, everything felt whole again. The sea seemed calm, the wind gentle, as though it approved of their reunion. But balance in the Arctic is never simple. The sea gives, the sea takes, and soon the sea would rise against them. When the bird spirit returned to the island and found Sedna gone, his anger shook the sky. He spread his great wings, black against the clouds, and let out a cry that echoed across the water. He summoned the storm. Winds roared. Waves rose high and violent. The sky darkened, heavy with clouds, and the small boat carrying Sedna and her father was tossed like driftwood in the fury of the sea. The father paddled desperately, but the waves grew higher, the storm stronger, the boat weaker, and then, in fear and desperation, he turned to his daughter. He thought of his own life. He thought of survival, and he made a choice that would echo through time. He pushed Sedna toward the sea. "Take her!" he cried to the storm. "Spare me, and take her!" Sedna screamed, clinging to the side of the boat, her fingers gripping the edge with all her strength. The waves clawed at her. The icy water pulled her down. Her father raised his paddle and struck her hands. One by one, her fingers slipped from the edge. One by one, they fell into the sea. And as they sank, something miraculous happened. From Sedna's fingers, life was born. From her thumb, the seals. From her fingers, the walruses, the whales, the fish that filled the Arctic waters. Each piece of her became a creature of the sea, breathing and swimming, filling the ocean with life. And Sedna herself sank deeper, deeper into the water. The storm raged above. Her father clung to his boat, but Sedna was gone, carried into the deep by the weight of betrayal and sorrow. Yet she did not die. She transformed. She became part of the sea itself, her hair flowing like seaweed, her body strong as the current, her spirit vast as the ocean. Sedna became the goddess of the sea. In the depths, she waits. Her hands, now without fingers, reach out to the world above. Her voice is the voice of the waves, rising and falling with the tide. Her presence is everywhere in the Arctic waters, in the breathing of whales, in the sleek movements of seals, in the glimmer of fish beneath the ice. The Inuit people understood. All sea animals were born from Sedna. And so, when hunters went to the water, when they sought food for their families, they knew it was not theirs by right. It was Sedna's gift, and gifts must be respected. In the dark, silent depths, Sedna drifted. The water was cold, colder than any night wind, colder than ice itself. But she did not fear it. The sea welcomed her, embraced her, pulled her into its endless arms. Her hair spread around her, long and black, weaving with seaweed, curling and twisting with the current. Her body glowed faintly, touched by the light that seeped through the water's surface. And where her fingers had once been, New creatures swam freely, each one a part of her, each one born of her loss. The sea had taken her, yes, but in taking, the sea had given her power. Sedna was no longer only human. She had become something greater. Her sorrow gave birth to life. Her pain gave birth to abundance. The seals swam because of her. The whales sang because of her. The fish darted and glittered because of her. And the Inuit people, who depended on the sea for survival, soon came to understand. It was Sedna who ruled the waters now. It was Sedna who controlled the creatures of the deep. It was Sedna who decided when the hunters would succeed and when they would return empty-handed. So the Inuit told her story, again and again, passing it from parent to child, from elder to youth, from one generation to the next. They whispered her name when the sea grew restless. They sang to her when the hunts were good. They dreamed of her when the nights grew long. Sedna was both feared and loved. She was a reminder of the sea's power, of its generosity, and of its anger. She was the spirit who reminded them to respect every catch, to honor every seal, every fish, every whale, every gift that the ocean gave. For to forget, to take without thanks, was to invite Sedna's wrath. They say that Sedna sits beneath the water, combing her long hair, but without her fingers, her hair tangles and knots. And when it tangles, she grows restless, her anger stirring storms, her grief withholding the animals from the hunters above. So the shamans, wise men and women of the Inuit, learned to travel in spirit to Sedna's realm. They would journey into trance, deep into the sea to soothe her. They would gently comb her hair, untangle the knots, ease her sorrow, and only then, when her hair flowed free and her heart grew calmer, would the sea creatures return to the hunters. This is why Sedna's story is told, dear listener, because in her the Inuit saw the truth of their world, that everything is connected, that every life taken must be honored, that survival is not a right, but a gift, granted by the sea, by Sedna herself. The sea is balance, the sea is life, and Sedna is the spirit of that balance. And so, part one of this journey ends. We have walked the snowy shores of the Arctic. We have seen Sedna as a child, proud and restless. We have followed her through betrayal, through sorrow, through transformation. And now we know her as the goddess of the deep, haunting, powerful, eternal. In the next part, we will go deeper. We will follow Sedna into the ocean itself. We will explore her dominion, the spirits of the sea, and the rituals that honor her. We will drift into the haunting beauty of her realm. But for now, rest, breathe, and let the waves of this story carry you into sleep. This has been Sleep Theory TV, and this has been part one of the myth of Sedna. Sedna drifted deeper and deeper, carried by the weight of water, the hush of the waves, the endless pull of the sea. The storm above was only a faint memory now. Below all was silence, soft, heavy silence, broken only by the slow pulse of the ocean. She opened her eyes. The light above shimmered faintly, rippling silver against the surface. All around her was blue, endless blue, stretching without end, filled with shadows, filled with life. Her hair spread wide like a black river, swirling with seaweed curling through the water. Her breath became the sea itself. Her body became the tide, and her sorrow became the heartbeat of the deep. Around her, life moved. A seal slipped past, smooth and silent, its eyes reflecting the light. A whale's shadow passed above, vast and slow, its song humming through the water like a deep lullaby. Fish darted in silver flashes, moving as one, scattering as though they were sparks from Sedna's own spirit. All of them had come from her, born of her hands, born of her loss, born of her transformation. And so they swam near her, gathering around her, circling her in devotion, as though they knew she was their mother, their source, their goddess. Time no longer moved as it once had. Days and nights blended together, the rhythm of the tides replacing the rhythm of the sun. The ocean became Sedna's home, her body and spirit bound to its endless depths. She no longer longed for the shore. She no longer searched for her father. The world above was a place of betrayal. But the world below belonged to her. Here she was not weak. Here she was not vulnerable. Here she was vast, powerful, eternal. The sea had claimed her, and in doing so, had given her dominion. Far above, in the villages of snow and stone, the Inuit hunters learned to call upon Sedna. When the sea was generous, when seals and fish filled their nets, they whispered thanks to her. When the sea grew empty, when hunger crept through the igloos, when storms rose without warning, they knew she was restless. And so the shamans, those who walked between worlds, closed their eyes, breathed deeply, and journeyed in spirit to Sedna's realm. They drifted downward, into trance, sinking through layers of silence until they reached her. And there she waited, her long dark hair floating around her, her eyes deep as the abyss, her hands reaching, aching, without fingers, to comb her tangled hair. Her hair, they say, tangles easily. Without fingers she cannot smooth it, and when it tangles, her sorrow grows heavy. Her anger unsettles the sea. Waves rise, animals vanish, storms howl across the ice. But when the shamans come to her, they bring patience, they bring calm. They kneel before her, gently combing her long hair, easing each knot, soothing each strand, whispering soft words of comfort. And as they do, Sedna grows calm again. The sea becomes generous again. The creatures return. Balance is restored. Sedna was not a goddess of punishment, nor was she only a goddess of gifts. She was balance. She reminded the people that every seal mattered, every fish mattered, every whale carried its own spirit. To take life carelessly, to waste, to kill without gratitude, this would anger her. But to hunt with respect, to give thanks, to honor the spirit of the animals, this would please her. And in pleasing her, the sea would continue to give. In Sedna, the Inuit saw the truth of the world they lived in, that survival is fragile, that nature is alive, that respect is the only path to harmony. Imagine, dear listener, drifting down into those depths. Imagine the water closing around you, cool and endless, soft as sleep. Imagine Sedna herself, watching with eyes dark as midnight, hair floating in long streams, her body part human, part spirit, part ocean itself. Her presence is not frightening. It is haunting, yes, but it is also soothing. For in her sorrow she carries all sorrow, and in her power she carries all life. The waves that lap the shore, the tides that rise and fall, the storms that come and pass, all of them move with her breathing. All of them echo her heart, and in those endless depths you are safe. You are carried. You are surrounded by her embrace. The sea belonged to Sedna now. Every current carried her touch. Every wave spoke her name. Every creature, from the smallest fish to the largest whale, was bound to her spirit. The seals, sleek and curious, swam in circles around her, their eyes wide and watchful. The whales sang deep songs, songs that rolled through the water like thunder, softened into lullabies. The fish moved in shimmering clouds, parting and rejoining, always circling, always flowing. And Sedna, the goddess, the mother of the sea, drifted among them, silent, endless, unseen by human eyes, yet felt in every breath of salt air, in every echo of the waves. Above the water, the people lived in fragile balance. They depended on the sea for everything. It gave them food, clothing, tools, shelter. Every part of the seal was used, every bone, every sinew, every drop of oil. And yet they knew that what they took was never truly theirs. It belonged to Sedna. She had given it. She could take it away. So they moved with care. They whispered thanks to the animals as they caught them. They sang songs of gratitude. They taught their children that each life taken was a gift, and gifts must be honored. For Sedna was listening, always listening, her hair flowing in the deep, her eyes watching, her spirit moving through the tides. When the sea grew empty, when no fish filled the nets, when no seals rose to the surface, the people knew Sedna was troubled. Her hair had tangled, her sorrow had grown heavy, her anger had stirred. So the shamans prepared themselves. They cleansed their bodies, they quieted their minds. They called upon their helping spirits, their guides of the unseen world. And then they traveled, not with their bodies, but with their souls. They drifted down into the depths, their spirits like shadows, their eyes glowing in the dark water. Down they sank until they found her. And there she was, Sedna, her hair spread in heavy knots, her hands reaching helplessly, her eyes filled with silent grief. The shamans knelt before her, combs of spirit in their hands, and with patience they smoothed her hair. They whispered to her gently, telling her she was not forgotten, telling her she was still honored, still loved, still remembered. And as they worked, the knots loosened, the strands flowed freely, and Sedna grew calm. Then she opened her hands, and once again the sea was filled with life. This cycle never ended. The people hunted. They gave thanks. Sedna watched. Sometimes she was generous. Sometimes she was sorrowful. Sometimes she was angry. And the shamans came again and again to soothe her, to remind her that she was not alone. For in her depths, Sedna carried not only the sea, but also the weight of betrayal. The memory of her father's hand pushing her into the water, the sharp crack of the paddle striking her fingers. Her sorrow could not be erased, but it could be softened, and in that softening, the people lived. Even now, they say, Sedna waits beneath the waves. Her hair still flows, long and black. Her hands still reach, empty of fingers. Her eyes still shine, dark and endless as the sea itself. And when the storms rise suddenly, when the ice cracks without warning, when the animals vanish from the hunter's reach, they whisper, "Sedna is restless." But when the hunt is good, when the nets are full, when the seals rise easily and the whales sing close to shore, they whisper too, "Sedna is pleased, her presence is constant, her power is eternal, her sorrow, her strength, her balance, they are part of the ocean forever." Breathe slowly now, dear listener. Breathe as though you are drifting beneath the water with Sedna. Each breath is a tide, flowing in, flowing out. Each breath is a wave, rising, falling, returning again. See the light above, shimmering faintly through the surface. See the deep shadows below, stretching into eternity. See the seals, the whales, the fish, all moving together, all born from her. You are safe here. You are held. The ocean carries you gently, rocking you like a cradle. Sedna is near. Her sorrow is your sorrow. Her peace is your peace. Her breathing is your breathing. And as she drifts, so do you. Above the water, the Arctic stretches forever. Snow drifts across the tundra. The ice groans and cracks, shifting under its own weight. The stars blaze sharp and clear, filling the sky with light. Sometimes the northern lights dance, ribbons of green and violet swaying in silence, painting the darkness with their glow. The hunters walk upon the ice, their breath rising like smoke, their eyes searching the horizon. They move with caution, with patience, with humility, for they know they are small here. They know the land is vast, the sea is greater still, and Sedna, beneath the waves, watches all. The sea is never silent. Even in its stillness it whispers. The waves breathe against the ice, a slow, steady rhythm. The currents stir beneath the surface, moving unseen, yet always moving. The ocean sings in tones too deep for the ear. A low, endless vibration that hums in the bones. And in those whispers, Sedna's voice can be heard. Not with words, not with sentences, but with feeling. A mother's sorrow, a goddess's power. A woman's memory. She speaks through the tides. She speaks through the animals. She speaks through the dreams of those who listen. Sometimes the people dreamed of her. A hunter might close his eyes and see a woman in the water, her hair swirling in black waves, her eyes watching him without anger, without joy, simply watching. A child might wake in the night, whispering of a lady beneath the ice. Her fingers gone, her hands reaching, her hair tangled with seaweed. A shaman might hear her voice in sleep. Low, mournful, as though carried on the wind, asking to be remembered, asking not to be forgotten. And always, when such dreams came, the people listened. They made offerings. They lit lamps of seal oil. They whispered prayers at the shore, their breath vanishing into the cold night air. For dreams were not only dreams, they were bridges, and through dreams, Sedna was near. The Arctic year turns slowly, in great sweeping rhythms, like the breathing of the earth itself. Winter stretches long and dark, with the sun absent, the stars burning sharp in the sky. Snow covers the land, ice grips the sea, and the people wait in patience, telling stories by the glow of their lamps. Then comes spring, and the sun returns, low at first, then climbing higher, spilling light across the ice. The animals stir. The sea loosens its frozen grip. The hunters ready their kayaks and spears, moving carefully across the melting floes. Summer comes brief and bright. The tundra blooms with tiny flowers, purple, yellow, white, dotting the endless land. Birds wheel overhead. The sea grows restless, alive with fish, alive with seals, alive with the great whales. And then autumn returns, a season of preparation, of gathering, of gratitude. The lamps are filled again, the shelters are strengthened, and as the darkness lengthens, the people remember the sea gives, the sea takes, and Sedna holds the balance. In the quiet of the igloos, when the wind howled outside, the elders told the children the story of Sedna. Their voices were slow, deliberate, rising and falling like the tide. They told of the beautiful young woman who had refused all suitors. They told of her father, of the stranger, of the fateful marriage. They told of the storm, of the betrayal, of the fall into the sea, and they told of her transformation, how she became the goddess of the ocean, how she gave birth to the creatures of the deep. The children listened with wide eyes, their imaginations filled with images of long hair floating through the waves, of seals slipping silently through the water, of whales singing in the night. And though some shivered at the thought of her dark eyes watching from below, they also felt comfort, for Sedna was not only frightening, she was also protector, provider, mother of the sea. And so, lulled by the story, they fell asleep, the sound of the wind outside merging with the imagined sound of waves, carrying them into dreams. On the hunt, the men carried Sedna in their thoughts. Each time a seal surfaced, its dark eyes reflecting the sky, they whispered softly before casting their harpoons. Each time a whale spouted, rising in majesty from the depths, they prayed for safe passage, for balance, for respect. And when the hunt was successful, when the animal gave its life, the hunters knelt in gratitude, offering thanks not only to the spirit of the creature, but also to Sedna herself, who had allowed the gift. The meat was shared, the skins were used, the bones became tools. Nothing was wasted, for to waste was to insult Sedna, and to insult her was to invite hunger, storm, and sorrow. The people understood. The sea was alive. It was not only water, it was spirit. It carried moods, it carried memory, it carried meaning. Some days the sea was gentle, smooth as glass, shining with the reflection of the sky. Other days it was restless, waves rising and falling, foam crashing against the shore. And sometimes the sea was furious. Storms raging, winds streaking, ice splitting, water rising in towering walls. Each mood was Sedna's mood. Each wave was Sedna's breath. Each silence was Sedna's listening. And so the people moved with care, not against the sea but with it, always remembering they lived not above nature, but within it. Yet beneath all storms, beneath all waves, there is calm. Deep down, in the place where light does not reach, the ocean rests in silence. There, Sedna drifts in eternal stillness, her hair floating like clouds, her gaze soft and endless. When shamans travel to her, they find her there, unmoving, watching, waiting. Her sorrow is deep, but so is her peace. Her anger is fierce, but so is her love. She is all things at once, as the sea is all things at once. Giver, taker, destroyer, healer, mother, queen, and in that stillness the shamans bow. They comb her hair, they whisper comfort, and they return, carrying balance back to the people. Picture, if you will, the hunters standing at the edge of the ice. The horizon stretches endless, the sea black and silent beneath a skin of snow. The air is sharp, each breath crisp, visible, fleeting. The hunters wait, they listen, they watch for the faint splash, the ripple of movement, the soft exhale of a seal rising through the water. In this silence, Sedna's presence can be felt. She is the water beneath their feet, the movement in the shadows, the spirit in the air. The hunters bow their heads slightly, acknowledging her before they cast their spears. It is never a battle. It is never conquest. It is always an agreement, a fragile exchange. One life given, many lives sustained. Back in the village, lamps glow with steady flames, fed by oil taken from the sea's creatures. The flames are soft, golden, gentle against the icy walls. Children sit in circles, eyes heavy with sleep, listening to the voices of the elders. The elders speak slowly, letting each word fall like snow. Patient, measured, calm. They remind the children. The lamp burns because of Sedna. The warm food in their bellies is because of Sedna. The furs wrapped around their shoulders are because of Sedna. Everything returns to her. The children drift into sleep, and even in their dreams, the soft sound of the sea lingers, a reminder that they are never separate from her, that every breath, every heartbeat moves with her tides. When shamans prepare to meet Sedna, they sit in stillness. The room is dark. The lamp flickers. The air is heavy with silence. They close their eyes. They breathe deeply, in and out, each breath slower than the last, until the rhythm of the body matches the rhythm of the sea. And then they begin to sink, not in body, but in spirit, sinking downward, past the edge of the world, past the snow, past the ice, into the dark waters. Deeper and deeper still, the weight of the ocean presses against them, but they do not resist. They let go, they drift, they surrender to the pull of the tide. And finally, in the quiet of the abyss, they see her. Every wave that touches the shore carries memory. The memory of storms, the memory of stillness, the memory of the first moment Sedna fell beneath the water. The waves never forget. They rise and fall, repeating endlessly, as though retelling her story in their own quiet language. Hunters hear it when they sit at the shore in silence. Children hear it when they drift to sleep. The sound of water lapping against ice like a lullaby. Even the shamans hear it, carried into their dreams, reminding them of the balance they must protect. The waves are never only water. They are Sedna's voice. They are Sedna's breath. They are Sedna herself. The ocean is vast beyond imagining. Its surface gleams in sunlight, sparkles in moonlight, shimmers under the glow of the northern lights. But beneath the surface lies a world of shadows, a world of silence, a world where no human eye can see. It is here that Sedna drifts, her hair coiling like rivers of ink, her form half woman, half goddess, half sea. Here no storm can disturb her. Here no betrayal can reach her. Here she is eternal. The fish swarm around her like sparks of silver. The seals weave through the water like dancers. The whales move like mountains, their voices echoing in songs too deep for human ears. This is her kingdom. This is her realm. This is her home. Before a shaman journeys to Sedna, offerings are made. A piece of meat, a sip of water, a few drops of oil placed into the sea. These gifts sink slowly, carried downward, drifting through the layers of the deep until they reach her. Sedna receives them not with hands, for her hands are gone, but with her spirit, with her presence, with the endless embrace of the water itself. And when she is soothed, when she feels the care and respect in the offering, she opens her arms. The fish return, the seals rise, the whales sing once more. It is not the gift itself that pleases her, but the respect behind it, for she remembers what it is to be unloved, unwanted, betrayed, and she knows what it means to be honored. She knows what it means to be remembered. The Arctic is a place of endless cold. The wind cuts sharp across the ice. The snow drifts, covering everything in silence. The sea hardens into frozen sheets, cracking, groaning, shifting with the tides beneath. But for the people, this cold is not cruelty. It is life. It sharpens their senses. It teaches patience. It reminds them of the strength required to survive. And in the cold, they feel Sedna. Her sorrow is the chill in the air. Her presence is the shifting of the ice. Her voice is the whisper of the wind across the snow. The cold is not to be feared. It is to be respected. It is Sedna's reminder that life is fragile, and gratitude is everything. Generations rise and pass, as steady as the tides. The elders tell the story, the parents repeat it, the children listen, and one day they too become storytellers. The story never fades. It is not only spoken in words, but lived in action, in the way the people hunt with care, in the way they give thanks, in the way they never take more than is needed. Each generation learns the lesson anew, that the sea is alive, that every gift has a spirit, that Sedna waits below, listening, watching, remembering. To some, Sedna may seem a figure of fear, a woman betrayed, cast into the depths, her fingers cut away, her sorrow eternal. Yet for those who live by the sea, she is not terror. She is comfort. She is the mother who provides. She is the goddess who balances. She is the sea itself, vast and eternal, holding life in her hands, or in her absence of hands. To dream of Sedna is to dream of the ocean's embrace, dark, endless, mysterious, but also safe, also soothing, also filled with life. Her presence is haunting, yes, but it is also a reminder that sorrow and beauty can live together, that pain and gift can be the same, that in the deepest waters of grief, life still flourishes. The whales sing, and their song carries for miles. Lo, resonant, weaving patterns of sound that echo through the deep. Their voices rise and fall, like tides of music, ancient and eternal. Some say the whales sing to Sedna, that their voices are offerings, songs of devotion, prayers wrapped in sound. Others say the whales sing for themselves, but that every song is born of Sedna's sorrow, every note touched by her spirit. When hunters hear the whales, they pause in reverence, for in that sound is mystery, memory, and meaning too vast to be explained. It is the song of the sea itself. It is the song of Sedna. And as the people sleep, wrapped in furs, lamps glowing faintly, the sea continues its rhythm. The tide rises, the tide falls, the tide rises again. In their dreams, Sedna drifts. Her hair flows, her eyes gleam, her hands reach. But her presence is not to frighten. It is to remind, to soothe, to carry them into the deep silence of rest. The waves outside whisper like lullabies. The snow drifts like a blanket. The stars wheel endlessly above, and Sedna watches from below, eternal, infinite, waiting. The sky in the north is a vast canvas. On clear nights, it is painted with countless stars, scattered like sparks across the darkness. Each star flickers as though it breathes, pulsing gently, keeping time with the tides below. The people look upward, and they see more than lights. They see signs. They see the movements of animals, the patterns of seasons, the echoes of ancestors. And always they know that the stars are mirrored in the sea. For beneath the water, Sedna drifts among her own constellations. Schools of fish glitter like galaxies. Whales move like planets, slow and grand. Her hair streams through the deep like the Milky Way itself. Above and below, the world reflects itself. Sky and sea are one. Stars and waves abound, and Sedna moves between them, belonging to both. The ocean breathes, not as humans breathe, with lungs and air, but with tides. Each rising tide is an inhale. Each retreating tide is an exhale. Endless, eternal, unstoppable. The people breathe with it. Their chests rise and fall. Their kayaks move with the current. Their lives are set to its rhythm. This breathing is Sedna's breathing. When the tide is calm, she is calm. When the tide surges, she is restless. When the tide stills, she is silent. And so, to listen to the ocean is to listen to her heart. To rest by the shore is to rest in her embrace. To breathe with the sea is to breathe with Sedna herself. Though she has become goddess, though she has grown vast and eternal, Sedna still remembers her beginning. The betrayal remains. The moment her father's hands pushed her into the sea. The sharp pain as her fingers were cut away. The weight of water filling her lungs. This memory lives in her like a scar. The storms are born from it. The sorrow in her eyes is shaped by it. The endless yearning in the tide whispers it still. But memory is not only wound. Memory is strength. From betrayal came transformation. From loss came creation. From her severed fingers came seals, whales, fish, the very creatures who sustain life above. Thus, even her sorrow became gift. Even her pain became blessing. Even betrayal became birth. The seals, born of her hands, live close to the people. They rise through holes in the ice, their dark eyes wide, curious, gleaming. They dive again, sleek and fast, vanishing like shadows into the water. To hunt a seal is never easy. The hunter waits in silence, still as the ice, patient as stone. Breath frosts in the air, fingers ache in the cold, eyes sting with wind. And then a movement. A seal appears. The chance is given. The people whisper thanks, even before the hunt is complete. For the seal is not only animal, it is Sedna's child. It is her gift, given at a cost. To take without thanks would be dangerous. To forget the mother behind the gift would bring sorrow. But to honor, to bow, to speak words of gratitude, that is balance. That is survival. The whale is the largest of Sedna's children, a mountain of flesh moving with surprising grace, rising through the waves in silence, its body shining wet in the sun. When a whale breaches, it is as though the ocean itself is lifting, revealing its soul for a moment before sinking back into the deep. Its song lingers in the air, vibrating in bone, echoing in memory. The people respect the whale deeply. It is not hunted lightly. It is approached with prayer, with humility, with awe. For a whale's body sustains many. Its meat feeds families. Its oil burns in lamps, keeping away the dark. Its bones become tools, shelters, frames. The whale is abundance, but abundance must be honored. The people know this, and they whisper thanks to Sedna whenever a whale is given. They know she does not give easily. They know each gift is weighty. They know she watches. When storms rage, when the sea withholds, when hunger grows too sharp, the shaman descends into trance. The drum beats slowly, like the rhythm of waves. The chant rises low and steady, echoing in the throat. The spirit loosens, drifting downward, downward, downward into the deep. The shaman seeks Sedna, through dark water, through cold silence, through endless depth, and at last she appears. Her hair tangled, her eyes vast, her fingers gone, but her presence strong. The shaman reaches out, combing her hair gently, soothing her sorrow, reminding her that she is loved, reminding her that she is not forgotten. And slowly, Sedna softens. Her eyes grow calm, her sorrow lightens, her handless arms open in blessing. Then the animals return. The storm quiets. The sea gives again. Balance is restored. Snow falls, soft and endless, covering the land in silence. It drifts across roofs, piles against doorways, smooths the sharp edges of stone and ice. The world glows pale beneath it, hushed and gentle. Snow is not separate from the sea. It is the breath of the clouds, born of the water, returning to the earth. Snow, too, belongs to Sedna. Each flake is a whisper from her, a reminder of her presence. Children play in it. Hunters travel across it. Elders sit quietly, watching it drift down, remembering long winters past. And in every flake they feel her. Her sorrow softened into beauty, her grief transformed into quiet blessing, her memory falling endlessly, covering the world in peace. Sedna watches always, from beneath the waves, from within the tides, from the silence of the deep. She sees every offering. She hears every prayer. She feels every act of gratitude and every act of greed. Nothing is hidden from her, not the storm, not the silence, not the smallest fish or the greatest whale. And so the people live with care, not only for themselves, but for her. For she is not myth alone. She is the sea. She is the life within it. She is the balance upon which all survival depends. Her anger, her silence, her storms. And so each seal's spirit is honored. Its body is used fully. Meat for food, skin for clothing, oil for light, bone for tools. Nothing is wasted. Each part is remembered. Each part is sacred. The hunter's family eats together, and in the warmth of the igloo, they whisper their gratitude to Sedna. Children are reminded, this is not ours by right. This is hers, and she has shared it with us. Far greater are the whales born from her sorrow, moving like mountains through the sea. Their presence is rare, yet unforgettable. When a whale is sighted, the village knows it is no ordinary moment. It is Sedna opening her hands wide. The whale breaches, rising into the air with impossible grace, and when it falls, the sea shakes with thunder. Its voice carries for miles, deep and low, like the heartbeat of the ocean itself. To hunt a whale is dangerous, sacred, and filled with risk. It requires courage, patience, and the deepest respect. And when such a gift is received, the entire community gathers. Songs are sung, offerings are made. The people bow their heads in thanks. For the whale is not only food, it is spirit, it is story, it is Sedna's presence made flesh. There are nights when the sea itself seems to dream. The water grows still, smooth as glass, reflecting the stars with perfect clarity. The wind softens to silence, and the waves fall quiet. The people sit by the shore and listen. It is as if the ocean has closed its eyes, breathing slow and deep, cradling the world in its vastness. This is Sedna in her gentlest form. Her hair floats without tangles. Her eyes are calm. Her sorrow rests like a sleeping child. In these moments, hunters whisper that dreams drift upward from the deep. Dreams of seals, of whales, of the great creatures of the ocean. Dreams that enter the minds of sleepers on land, filling their nights with visions of the sea. And when morning comes, those dreams guide the hunt, guide the prayers, guide the balance of life. In the far north, silence has its own weight. It is not empty, it is not void, it is full, full of unseen presence, full of watching spirits, full of Sedna herself. The silence rests on the snow like a blanket. It hangs in the air, heavy, vast. Even the hunters move more softly within it, careful not to break its spell. For in silence, Sedna listens most closely. In silence, her sorrow is sharpest. In silence, her calm is deepest. And so the people honor silence. They let it stretch long between words. They let it fill the space between breaths. They let it carry them into sleep, as though they too drifted in Sedna's sea. This is the truth Sedna embodies. Balance. Between sorrow and gift. Between storm and calm. Between hunger and abundance. She does not give without reason. She does not withhold without cause. Her presence is not cruelty, but reminder that life is fragile, that respect is essential, that survival depends on gratitude. And so the Inuit people live with this balance, shaping their lives by it, teaching their children by it, carrying it forward from generation to generation. For Sedna, is not only a goddess. She is the sea. She is the silence. She is the tide. And she is always waiting. Close your eyes. Breathe slowly. And imagine the sea before you. The horizon stretches wide, endless and dark. The waves move in rhythm, slow and steady, as though they are breathing with you. Step closer. The sand is cool beneath your feet, soft and damp. Each wave brushes against your toes like a whisper, pulling gently back toward the sea. You take another step. The water rises to your ankles, then your knees, then your chest. The salt air fills your lungs, and with each breath you feel heavier, quieter, more at peace. Now you float. The surface carries you for a moment, rocking you like a cradle. Above you, the stars shine with distant ancient light, and then you let go. You sink. The water grows darker, but it is not frightening. It is calm. The deep accepts you, surrounding you in cool silence. The light above fades into soft glimmers, like scattered lanterns. Deeper still, down, 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 you feel the weight of the world above slip away. And finally, you arrive. There, in the stillness, sits Sedna. Her hair floats endlessly, streaming out in every direction like black silk. Her face is pale, carved with sorrow and beauty. Her eyes are vast, reflecting the memory of every wave, every storm, every seal and whale that has ever lived. She does not speak. She only watches. Her silence fills you. Her presence steadies you. You realize you are not separate from her. You are part of her, as the sea is part of the sky, as the tide is part of the moon, as every breath is part of the endless rhythm of life. You sit with her. No words, no time, only stillness. And then, slowly, you rise again. The water grows lighter, the surface returns, and the air greets you with gentle coolness. You have seen Sedna. You have rested in her silence, and you carry it with you now, like a secret. Imagine now that you are not yourself, but a whale moving through the deep. Your body is vast, heavy, yet weightless in the water. Each movement of your tail sends you gliding forward, smooth and effortless. The sea opens before you, wide and welcoming. You sing. Your song is long, slow, and deep. It travels miles through the water, touching others you cannot see. They answer, their voices weaving with yours, a chorus of the ocean. You rise for air. Your body breaks the surface, and for a moment you see the sky. Stars glittering, moonlight shimmering on the waves. Then you fall back down, the sea embracing you again. You dream as you swim. You dream of Sedna's hair, of seals darting like shadows, of the currents that guide you. You dream of endless journeys, of waters that never end. And when you wake, you are still dreaming, because in the deep, dreams and waking are the same. Far above the water, the stars keep watch. The Inuit people look to them for guidance, mapping their paths across the dark sky. But the stars are also reflections of the ocean, of Sedna, of the endless depths below. As you drift to sleep, imagine that the stars themselves are drops of water scattered across the heavens, each one a reminder that above and below are not separate. The sea has its constellations, the sky has its tides, and Sedna is the bridge between them. Now imagine you are small, swift, and graceful. You are a seal. The water holds you with ease. Your body twists and glides, effortless and light. The sea is your home, and you know every ripple, every current, every quiet place to rest. Above, the ice stretches wide. It glows faintly in the pale moonlight, blue and silver, like glass. You surface for air, your whiskers catching the light. You breathe in the cold, crisp wind, and then, without hesitation, you dive again. You swim through kelp forests that sway like slow dancers. You pass schools of fish that scatter like sparks in the dark. The silence is complete, broken only by the sound of your own breath, your heartbeat, your movement. You do not fear Sedna. You are her gift. You are her child. You are part of her sorrow and part of her generosity. And as you glide through the dark water, you feel her presence. Her hair brushes past you like strands of seaweed. Her eyes, hidden in the shadows, watch with quiet patience. You are safe. You are part of her endless dream. Now, return to the land. The night is cold. The stars are sharp above you. A shaman walks ahead, his steps slow and deliberate. He carries no weapon, no tool, only a drum and his voice. You follow him into the silence. The snow crunches softly beneath your feet. The northern wind whispers over the ice. The village is far behind you now, and only the wide stillness remains. He stops by the edge of the sea. He kneels, lowering his hands to the water. The waves reach forward, touching his palms like an old friend. He begins to drum. Slow, steady. The rhythm matches your heartbeat. He sings, a low chant, a thread of sound carried into the night. His voice is not only his, it belongs to the spirits. It belongs to Sedna. And as you stand beside him, you feel it too. The veil between worlds growing thin. You are on the shore, but also in the sea. You are on the land, but also in the deep. The shaman's voice weaves through you, carrying you further inward, further downward, into the heart of the silence. There you find Sedna again. Her sorrow is vast. Her stillness is endless. But in her presence you are not afraid. You are quiet. You are at peace. Now look upward. The sky itself begins to move. From the horizon, ribbons of green rise and curl, drifting like smoke, shimmering like silk. They twist and dance across the stars, bending, weaving, shifting in silence. The people say the northern lights are spirits, the souls of those who have gone before, crossing the sky in joy. Others say they are fires burning in the far north, carried by giants, reflected in the heavens. But to you, watching, they are a song, not a sound you can hear, but a music you can feel, a rhythm flowing through the sky, through the air, through your own body. You breathe with it, slow, gentle, calm. The northern lights wrap around the world like Sedna's hair, a veil between sky and sea. They shimmer above you, and you feel yourself drifting, as though the lights themselves are carrying you upward into their dance. For a moment, you are weightless, floating among the colors. You glide with the green, swirl with the violet, turn with the silver blue. The stars blink through, kind and steady, and slowly, softly, You fall again, not with fear, but with peace. The earth welcomes you back. The snow glows faintly in the sky's reflection. The sea murmurs its eternal rhythm, and you rest, with Sedna's silence all around you. Now imagine the world through different eyes. The eyes of the great white bear. The snow is your blanket. The wind is your song. The ice stretches endlessly, shining like glass beneath the moon. You walk slowly, paws sinking into the snow with soft, steady weight. The silence is immense, but you do not fear it. You belong to it. You are shaped by it. The sea waits for you. Cracks in the ice shimmer with dark water. You pause, nose raised, breathing in the air. Beneath the frozen surface, you sense life moving. Fish darting, seals gliding, the pulse of the ocean beating steadily. You wait with patience, as your ancestors always have. Time is long, the night is endless, and you move only when it is right. When you rest, the snow shelters you. The cold wraps around you like a second skin. You close your eyes, and in your dreams, the land and sea are one. Sedna's shadow drifts across your sleep. She knows you as hunter, as survivor, as part of her endless cycle. She offers her creatures, and you accept with gratitude. Nothing wasted, nothing forgotten. You dream of seals, of whales, of the slow turning of the stars above you, and as you dream, you are at peace. Now, return to the deep. Imagine yourself sinking gently once more, weightless, carried by the dark water. This time, Sedna's hair surrounds you. It is vast, flowing, endless. Black strands ripple like currents, weaving in every direction. They do not tangle you. They cradle you. They hold you softly, like the threads of a great net, or the embrace of the night sky itself. Her hair is the seaweed forests. Her hair is the northern lights reflected in the water. Her hair is the river of dreams that carries you deeper and deeper into rest. You lie within it, as though in a bed spun from the ocean itself. Each strand rocks you gently, back and forth, like waves against the shore. The silence is complete. Your breathing is slow. Your heartbeat is calm. And Sedna watches, her gaze neither harsh nor kind, but eternal. In her presence there is no need to move, no need to speak, no need to be anything but still. Here, in her hair, you sleep. Now lift your eyes to the sky once more. The moon is waiting. Round and silver, it hangs above the horizon, pulling at the tide with invisible hands. The sea rises and falls to its rhythm. The world breathes with it. Imagine you follow the moon's light. A silver path stretches across the ocean, shimmering with gentle ripples. Step onto it. Each step is weightless, soft as cloud. The water does not sink beneath you. It holds you, carries you. You walk further, further, following the moon. The night is endless. The stars watch from every side. The waves murmur below you. At last you reach the moon itself. It is not cold. It is not empty. It is a mirror. In its light you see Sedna again. Her hair, her sorrow, her silence. But now she smiles faintly. A rare, fleeting thing, like a ripple across still water. And you understand. Her sorrow is part of her gift. Her silence is part of her love. Her endless watching is part of the balance that keeps the sea alive. The moon fades. The path dissolves. You are back upon the shore, but you carry its light with you, inside your breath, inside your heart. Now, let everything fade. The ice, the snow, the stars, the sea, all becomes one. A single rhythm, a single silence. You drift, weightless. You are the seal. You are the whale. You are the shaman. You are the bear. You are the tide itself. You are Sedna's dream, and she is yours. Her hair rocks you. Her silence holds you. Her sea breathes through you. And with every breath, you drift further into rest. Deeper, softer, quieter, until only the dream remains. Sedna is not only a story. She is a presence. For the Inuit people, her tale explains more than sorrow. It explains survival itself. The hunters of the Arctic depended upon the sea. The seal, the walrus, the whale. Without them, life was impossible. And yet, these animals were not simply food. They were gifts. They were lives taken in exchange for human life. And so, before the hunters went to the ice, before the kayaks slid into the sea, the shamans would prepare. They would speak to Sedna. They would calm her sorrow. They would promise respect. For if Sedna's hair was tangled, the animals would not come. If her grief was heavy, the sea would remain empty. But if her hair was combed, if her spirit was soothed, she would release the creatures of the deep. Imagine this now. A shaman sits in a small igloo, the lamp flickering. He closes his eyes and begins to drum. His soul drifts downward, past the snow, past the ice, past the black water. He descends into the deep, where Sedna waits. Her hair is long, endless, heavy with sorrow. The shaman kneels, comb in hand. Slowly, carefully, he untangles it. He sings gently as he works. Each knot undone is an old grief released. Each strand smoothed is a wound remembered and healed. At last Sedna sighs. Her hair floats free. Her silence softens. And the next day the hunters return with seal, with fish, with food for the people. This is how survival was woven with story. This is how myth became truth. Not only to explain the sea, but to live with it. To live within it. Now close your eyes. Imagine the rhythm of the shaman's drum. Boom. Is boom. Is boom. Each beat carries you downward, deeper, into the silence where Sedna waits. And as the shaman combs her hair, as the knots fall away, your thoughts fall away too, one by one, until only stillness remains. Whales were not only creatures of the sea, they were worlds, they were ancestors, they were breath itself. Among the Inuit and among many Arctic peoples, the whale was a gift beyond measure. A single whale could feed a village, clothe them with skin, light their lamps with oil. Its bones could shape homes, its tendons could become rope. But the whale was never seen as merely food. It was sacred, hunters sang to the whale. They whispered apologies even as they struck. They believed that if the whale was treated with respect, its soul would return to Sedna, and Sedna would send it again in another life. Now imagine the whale in the water, its body vast, moving with slow grace. It rises to the surface, and the air itself trembles with its breath. Fountains of mist rise into the cold air, and in that sound, that deep exhale, you hear the breath of the world itself, a reminder that life and sea, human and whale, are bound together. As the whale dives, you dive with it, downward, downward, into the silence where only Sedna waits. Her sorrow is there, but so is her gift. The whale moves through the dark, steady and calm, and you, carried in its shadow, drift with it, weightless, timeless. Your own breath slows, soft, gentle, deep, as though you too are the whale. Above the ice, the night is long. Winter brings months of darkness, and in that darkness, the stars are everything. The Inuit did not look at the sky and see only distant suns. They saw stories. They saw guides. They saw the map of life itself. One story tells of Uluriak, the stars, who were once people. They dance across the heavens, reminding the living of joy, of movement, of the circle of life. Another tells of Kilugtuk, the dog star Sirius, a faithful companion in the hunt, forever running ahead. The Big Dipper was not only a dipper, it was a caribou, and the hunters chased it across the sky season after season. For the Inuit, these constellations were not fixed. They were alive. They moved with the year, guiding hunters, marking time, telling when the seal would rise, when the caribou would return, when the sun itself would rise again. Now, look upward. The stars are endless. The sky is a blanket, black and deep. But as you watch, they shift. They are not far away. They are close. They move like stories written in light, and each story drifts down into your own dream. The stars are hunters. The stars are caribou. The stars are children. The stars are songs. And now, the stars are you. You breathe with them. You rest with them. You sleep among them. In the long Arctic night, there is one light that never fails. The kulik, the stone lamp, carved from soapstone, shaped into a shallow bowl. It holds oil rendered from seal fat. Moss, or Arctic cotton, serves as the wick. The flame is steady. It flickers, golden, against the white walls of the igloo. It melts ice for water. It warms the small home. It cooks the food. But more than that, it is sacred. The Inuit call it the sustainer of life. Without it, the long winter could not be survived. Women tended the lamps with devotion. They fed the flame carefully, trimming the wick, ensuring the light never died. For the flame was not only warmth, not only survival, it was also spirit. The kulik represented the sun, and in months when the sun did not rise, the flame became the sun itself, burning indoors, a promise that light would return. Some stories say that the flame was watched over by Nuliajuk, another name for Sedna. Others say the flame itself was alive, a being that gave so long as it was honored. Now imagine yourself beside the lamp. The snow outside is endless. The wind howls over the ice, but within there is warmth, there is light, there is safety. You close your eyes, and the flicker of the kulik becomes the flicker of your own breath. Steady, gentle, endless. Far across the tundra, Beyond the fjords, beyond the pine forests, lived the Sami people. For them, the reindeer is what the seal was for the Inuit. Food, clothing, shelter, life itself. Their stories speak of Beaivi, the sun goddess. She rises from the dark each spring, bringing light, warmth and health. She is often shown with reindeer horns, circling across the sky. In winter, when the sun disappeared, the Sami offered butter smeared upon doorposts, food for Beaivi's reindeer, so that she might grow strong and return with the light. The drum was sacred here too. Shamans painted circles, suns, reindeer, spirits upon its skin. When struck, it did not only make sound, it carried the soul into the upper world, or the underworld, or to the side where spirits dwelled. Now imagine the tundra, snow stretching wide but broken by dark forests, reindeer moving, heads low, breath steaming. Their hooves crunch the ice as they wander, steady, unhurried. Above them, the aurora drifts, and perhaps it is not light at all, but Beaivi's veil, a ribbon she spreads to remind the people that spring will come, and the sun will not abandon them forever. You breathe in, the cold air fills your chest. You breathe out, the sound joins the wind, and slowly you walk with the reindeer across the endless snow. Further south, in Hokkaido and beyond, the Ainu people tell their own stories. Every being is alive. Every being has a spirit, a kamui. The bear is sacred. It is not only an animal, but a god, visiting the people in fur and claw. When a bear was hunted, the Ainu would hold a ceremony called Iomante, sending off. The bear's spirit was not killed. It was released, sent back to the world of the gods, carrying the people's respect and gratitude. The owl was a kamui too, a guardian of the village, watching with golden eyes, carrying messages from the higher worlds. Even the fire was a kamui. Apehuchi Kamui, the goddess of the hearth. She was honored with prayers at every meal. Her flames were the bridge between human and divine. Now picture the Ainu home. The fire crackling in the center, smoke drifting upward, an elder chanting soft and rhythmic, words flowing in a language older than memory. Each sound honors a kamui. Each pause listens for their answer. And as you hear the chanting slow and steady, you too feel surrounded, not only by humans, not only by stories, but by spirits. Every spark in the fire, every flicker of smoke, every breath of wind, all alive, all present, all watching, and you rest within their gaze. And further still, across the seas, came the Norse. They too looked to the north. They too told of gods and spirits that bound people to the land, the sea, the sky. They spoke of Ran, the sea goddess who caught sailors in her net. She was not unlike Sedna, feared but also respected. The drowned were said to rest in her hall beneath the waves. They spoke of Aegir, her husband, who brewed ale for the gods in a great cauldron, while the waves of the sea were his daughters. And they spoke of the Midgard serpent, Jörmungandr, coiled around the world, sleeping in the ocean's depths. When it stirred, the sea itself trembled. The Norse, like the Inuit, like the Sami, lived by the water's edge. The sea could not be tamed, only honored. Now imagine their longships, carved with dragon heads, sliding over dark waves, the stars above guiding them, the northern lights shifting, painting the sky. To them, these lights were also spirits. Some said they were the shining of Valkyrie's armor, as they rode to gather the souls of warriors. Others said they were the Bifrost, the bridge between worlds. And so, even far apart, the peoples of the north looked at the same sky, the same lights, the same silence. Each told it differently, but each felt the same truth, that the world is alive, that the sea has a soul, that the lights are not only lights, but dreams. In the far east of Siberia, where the land touches the Bering Sea, live the Chukchi. Here the winters are long, the tundra stretches wide, and the horizon is endless. Among the Chukchi, one spirit appears again and again, the raven. The raven is not only a bird, he is a trickster, a creator, a bringer of light. In some stories, the world was dark until Raven stole the sun and set it in the sky. In others, he created rivers and mountains, scattering them with the beat of his wings. The raven is clever, sometimes selfish, sometimes generous, but always essential. For the Chukchi, he is the reminder that the world is not simple, that even mischief can bring creation, that even flaws can carry wisdom. Now imagine the tundra. The wind sweeps across it, cold and sharp. A raven calls, deep, rough, echoing across the snow. It circles overhead, its black wings cutting against the pale sky, and you follow it step by step until its shadow leads you toward the horizon. You do not need to know where, you only need to trust, for Raven always leads, even when his path is strange. And as his shadow stretches before you, you drift with him into silence, into story, into sleep. Across the Russian Arctic roam the Nenets, people of the Yamal Peninsula. Their lives are bound to the reindeer. The herds stretch for miles across the tundra. They give milk, meat, hides, sinew. They pull sleds across the snow, carrying families and homes. The Nenets tell stories of Num, the sky god who rules above, and his brother Na, who rules below. Between them lies the world, balanced like a sled gliding across the ice. The reindeer carry people between these realms. They are animals, but also spirits, messengers who can cross worlds. In winter ceremonies, the Nenets honored the herds. They sang to them, drummed for them, thanked them. Without the reindeer, there was no survival. With them, there was abundance. Now imagine the herd. The air is cold, but their breath rises warm, steaming in clouds. Their hooves crunch the snow in unison. Their antlers branch like forests, silhouettes against the sky. You walk among them. They do not fear you. They move slowly, steadily, always forward. And with each step, you feel the earth beneath you, the snow supporting you, the sky watching over you, until you are no longer walking. You are drifting, carried forward by the herd's eternal rhythm. Deeper inland, across Siberia, live the Evenki, hunters, herders, reindeer people as well. For them, the universe is shaped by a great tree, the World Tree. Its roots stretch into the underworld, Its trunk rises through the earth. Its branches touch the sky. At the base of the tree, shamans begin their journeys. They drum, they chant, and their souls climb upward, step by step, branch by branch, higher and higher until they reach the stars. There, among the branches, live the sky spirits, the sun, the moon, the stars themselves. The world tree connects all things, above, below, within. Now imagine standing before it. Its trunk is vast, wider than any mountain. Its branches spread into infinity, filled with starlight. You place your hand upon its bark. You feel its pulse. It beats like your heart. It breathes like your breath. And slowly you begin to climb, step by step, branch by branch. The stars grow closer, the silence grows deeper, and at last you are among them. A leaf upon the tree of the world, swaying gently in the cosmic wind. Across the sea lies Greenland, where the Inuit hold other stories. Here, the land is sharp with cliffs. The sea is heavy with ice, the sky vast and pale. Among these people, it is said that the souls of the dead travel northward. They cross the cold, carried by the aurora. They move toward a land where there is no hunger, no cold, no pain. The living sing for them, low, soft chants, songs without words, only breath and rhythm. The songs guide the souls on their way, ensuring they do not lose the path. Imagine now that you hear such a song, slow, gentle, endless. It rises and falls like the sea. It drifts upward like smoke. It carries you too, as though you were weightless, as though you were also a soul on the path northward. The aurora shimmers above, green, violet, silver blue. It arches across the horizon, a road of light, and you drift upon it, carried endlessly forward, not toward an ending but toward peace, toward silence, toward sleep. Now all the voices come together. The Inuit combing Sedna's hair, the Sami calling to Betrayal, the sun, the Ainu sending back the bear to the gods, the Norse watching the Valkyries' lights, the Chukchi laughing with Raven, the Nenets following the reindeer, the Evenki climbing the world tree, the Greenlanders singing for the souls. Different lands, different peoples, different words, but the same sky, the same sea, the same snow, the same silence, all stories joined together, circling like the northern lights. All voices whisper into one voice, the voice of the north itself. It tells you to rest, to drift, to breathe, to sleep. For the world is vast, the stories are endless, and you are part of them now. You close your eyes, you breathe softly, the snow falls, the sea murmurs, the sky glows, and you dream, forever within the circle of the north. Among the Chukchi of the far northeast, the whale was sacred, the great bowhead, the mighty grey. Its body could feed an entire village through the winter. Its bones could build houses. Its oil could keep lamps burning for months. The hunt was not only a struggle for survival, it was a ceremony. Before the hunt, shamans sang. They asked the whale's spirit for permission. They promised respect. They promised that nothing would be wasted. When the whale was taken, feasts followed, dances, chants, offerings. The Chukchi believed the whale's soul would return to the sea. If it had been honored, it would give itself again in the future. If it had been dishonored, the sea would close and no whale would return. Now imagine the hunt, the vast ocean, the small skin boats gliding silently over the water, the air sharp with salt and cold, and then the shadow below, the whale rising, its breath breaking the surface, a fountain of mist in the air. The hunters steady their hands. They breathe together, and they wait, but you do not see the strike. You only see the whale turn, vast and calm, diving again into the deep. The sea closes over it, smooth as glass, and you drift with the water, rocking gently, endlessly, until the line between whale and sea, hunter and sky, fades into one. Near the Taimyr Peninsula live the Dolgan, people of the far north of Siberia. Here, winter is not only cold, it is long. Weeks pass, months pass. The sun does not rise. For the Dolgan, the long night is not an absence, but a presence. They tell stories of the Black Raven, spirit of the dark season. He is not evil, but necessary. The keeper of silence, the watcher of dreams. When the raven's season ends, he flies away. Then comes the swan, pure and white, carrying the summer light on its wings. And so the world is not broken, but balanced. Darkness and light, raven and swan, winter and summer. Now imagine that endless night. The stars burn brighter than ever. The snow glows with their cold light. Your breath rises in silver clouds, disappearing into the dark. The raven calls, low and rough, but not frightening. He circles above, watching, guarding, and you are not lost in the night. You are held by it, wrapped in its stillness, carried into dreams. To the east in Kamchatka live the Koryak. Here the land is torn with mountains, rivers of ice, and fire hidden deep below. The Koryak tell of Kuth, the creator who shaped the world. Some say he is like a man. Some say he is like a raven. He lives within the volcanoes, his breath the smoke that rises from their peaks. When the earth trembles, it is Kuth turning in his sleep. When the mountain erupts, it is Kuth speaking, reminding the people that he is still here. Now imagine the mountain, its slopes white with snow, its summit hidden by cloud. The air smells faintly of sulfur, sharp and strange. Far below, deep in the earth, the fire stirs. It glows dim and slow, like the breath of a dreamer. The mountain is asleep, and you are asleep with it, still vast, eternal. Along the rivers of northeastern Siberia dwell the Yukagir, hunters of elk, moose, reindeer, people of forest and frost. For the Yukagir, every animal has a soul. When an animal is killed, its soul watches. If it feels dishonored, the herds will vanish. If it feels respected, the herds will return. So the hunters whisper apologies. They hang offerings in the branches of trees. They leave food for the souls so they will not feel hunger. In their stories, animals walk like humans in another world. They meet in councils. They decide which among them will step into the hunter's path. And so, each hunt is not chance. It is an agreement, a gift. Now imagine the forest. Tall pines heavy with snow. The air so still you can hear your own heartbeat. Through the trees, a reindeer appears. Its breath drifts in the cold. Its eyes meet yours, calm, steady, timeless. You lower your gaze. You whisper your thanks. And slowly, it fades back into the forest, leaving only silence. And that silence becomes your silence. Your breath slows. Your body softens. And you rest, as though you too are part of the forest's dream. Across the circle of the north, from Greenland to Siberia, from Lapland to Kamchatka, there is one thing all peoples share. The hearth in the igloos of the Inuit, the kulik burns with seal oil. In the tents of the Sami, the fire glows at the center, smoke curling upward through reindeer hides. Among the Ainu, Apahuchi Kamui, the fire goddess, listens at every meal. The Norse too sat around their longhouse hearths, telling sagas by firelight. And the Chukchi, the Nenets, the Evenki, all kept the flames alive through the long winter night. The fire is more than warmth. It is a gathering place, a guardian, a spirit. It cracks and whispers. It shifts and sighs. It gives both light and shadow. Around it stories were told, myths were sung, dreams were shared. It is said that the fire does not only burn wood or oil, it burns time itself. Each flame a moment, each spark a heartbeat. And as the flames soften, so too does the mind. Thoughts quiet. The body loosens. The world grows slow. Now picture yourself before such a fire. The room is warm. The snow lies thick beyond the walls. The night is deep, but here the glow is steady. The flames flicker, gentle. The wood shifts, sighs, falls inward. A spark leaps up, then fades. The light dances across your closed eyes, and slowly the stories fade. The voices quiet. The silence deepens. The fire is all that remains. Its crackle, its warmth, its breath. And now, dear listeners, we come to sleep. Listen to fire cracking and burning while you sleep.